Everyone, on today's show, we have the co-founder and chief of veteran engagement for HKY for Vets, Nathan Huret. Since 2016, Nathan has co-led HKY for Vets, managing much of the daily operations, communications, and direct service member engagement for the organization. HKY for Vets assists transitioning military and military families in finding economic opportunities and resources. They also make valuable business connections in the Hickory Metro of North Carolina. So Nathan, thank you so much for being on the show today. I gave a little bit of information about you there, but if you can, take a few minutes and tell the audience about yourself and what other hats you wear for Catawba County.
Yeah, awesome to be here. I love the chance to talk about HKY for Vets. As I'll kind of detail a little bit here at the beginning, this is not my day job, if you will. It's become something that started as a part of my day job, but obviously has grown beyond that and is really a passion between myself and Lindsay Kiesler at the Chamber of Catawba County. But my day job, where this originally kind of started back in April 2016, we're actually coming up on our 6 years next month, it looks like. So we've survived somehow that long.
Doesn't
all
seem
the
that long
pandemic
ago.
regardless. No, it does not. But my daily job is with Director of Existing Industry Services at Catawba County Economic Development. And as part of that role, I'm consistently going out and meeting with the companies that call Catawba County home. And really, I'm a problem solver. Sometimes I get good calls. We're growing, which has been kind of the calls of the day. But sometimes I'm also getting those bad calls of we're struggling in this way, or we just need some help for a solution here. And I'm supposed to become that expert real quick, or just know who is the right person to go to. And so I've been doing that really since 2007. And in my interactions, really say, let's go back almost 8+ years. They started shifting from, the issues of banking and finance coming out of some of the Great Recession and things like that, where it was difficult to get a loan. And it starts shifting to businesses doing fairly well and stable, but yet we're finding difficulties with talent related to quantity and quality. And so you start hearing that over and over again. And between myself and Lindsay, we're going out to companies consistently. Well, you hear that, and on a local front, we're doing lots of programming. So between the K-12 system, LR, Little Rhine University, CVCC, all of these different entities that exist in this community, in this region, do a tremendous job. But it's tough to scale some of those operations. And additionally, you in essence kind of fishing out of the same talent pool all at the same time. And so we started really just with going to a hiring event at Fort Bragg, which we're about 3 hours from the All-American Gate there. And we just not really having any intentions other than just we're going to go for a day. We're going to take 4 or 5 of our companies there to participate. And we don't know. This is going to be a one-time deal, right? So we go, have Hickory Springs there, cargo transporters, the hospital was there, Catawba Valley Medical Center was there, and a room full of Booz Allen Hamilton, Verizon, Amazon, all these huge entities that are very globally known. And we're this little community. Who are you? What are you talking about? Hickory, Newton, Conover, never heard of the place. We literally had nothing there other than some materials we had borrowed from the Tourism and Convention Center, and a map, literally a map, a road map showing Fort Bragg to kind of Catawba County and outside of Charlotte. And we went there and we met tremendous people. And we would literally go take someone from a Verizon, which was across from us, and be like, you're waiting in line for 45 minutes. Come talk to us while you're waiting. And so we just met these truly amazing people that were humble and hardworking and just had all these intangibles of like great character that you would want to be around yourself, let alone have as a coworker, as an employee, as a boss. And so we left that literally on the drive back. It was Danny Hearn at that time, Lindsay and myself in the vehicle, and we all kind of jointly said, there's something here we are not tapping into as a community, as an employer market, as a growth model for population. It's all there, and it's literally down. I know it's not our doorstep physically, but 3 hours away is literally, it's
I mean,
metaphorically
it's still not
really
that
close.
far.
No, and then Camp Lejeune and Seymour Johnson, and you start going around us, and there's this huge. We have a huge population of folks that are engaged in the United States military, and at the same time, they're transitioning out. So we kind of looked at this as, the quantity issue. You have literally thousands, with just in this state. I've heard various numbers from 12,000 to 18,000 individuals, but then you also have to think of the components of the family. So you a lot of times may have a spouse included in that, kids. And so those numbers multiply out very quickly. And that's just North Carolina. So you've got folks transitioning out all over the country and surrounding us. And so it just became, there's our quantity potential solution. And then quality, I've already highlighted a little bit of that, but they're receiving substantial, upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars of training in leadership and technical training, all these things that are an Uncle Sam's dime, that in essence get them to a point where they can plug in fairly easily in almost any environment and contribute. And so we saw that as a real ability to solve that issue that we consistently heard about. And I mean, at this point, 6 years later, and we'll get into a little bit more of this, I'm sure, Mike, but we're a small entity. So we've never scaled as much as I say may have wanted, but I still think we're fulfilling a great need for multiple parties. The transitioning military, those families themselves, our community, our companies, and so I can detail a little bit more about that. But that's the short. It's not short at all. I'm long-winded as usual.
No,
That's a 10-minute spiel on the history of HKY for Vets and how we came to be.
No, it's really good. And, obviously we'll kind of get into a little bit further as we go down, but I mean, it's great that sometimes the things that are kind of accidental are the things that end up making the most impact. So
it was definitely accidental.
So what are some of the companies that are participating in the program so far?
Yeah. So we built this model really to be employer driven. And so much of what we do in the community is really based off of partnership. And that's, if you talk to myself or really any of these entities from a education, governmental, nonprofit side, you consistently hear that word of partnership. We have always presented it as it is public has actually been a part of it. So some of the local governments, for instance, are employer partners. They support it really as kind of a general community initiative, but at the same time, they can benefit from a talent standpoint as well. We have a number that participate in our events that are looking really to hire. But a large bulk of our, we'll say, year-to-year operating budget is from private companies. So at this point this year, and we do this kind of on an ongoing annual basis, we have 20 employer partners, ranging from very large. So say, I would think CommScope is our largest partner, being kind of a Fortune 500 global entity, down to, again, local governments. City of Newton, Catawba County are involved. You have a pretty diverse spectrum of opportunities, which is what we think is a magnet for folks that are looking to come out. They want to look at a community and understand, okay, I may find a job, but I'm also, again, bringing that spouse. And so they also need to know that there's everything from finance, healthcare, advanced manufacturing, logistics. We have Performance Food Group, for instance, is the former IFH that is one of our partners. So we have a really good diverse spectrum. We're always open to more. We've actually have opened a couple of our events. So those are our ongoing partners that are with us throughout the year. But then we have some events that we do, for instance, a virtual hiring event. We have done several of this year. We just did one in February where we just opened it up. We know the need for companies is tremendous. And again, we feel like the magnet is those diversity of opportunity for, say, transitioning Marine or soldier. And so the more of those folks that we can have represented in an event like that, the better it is for both the employers and both the job seekers as well, and really just the overall effort.
Okay, gotcha. So what kind of successes have you been able to quantify so far?
Yeah, it's like I said, I alluded to it earlier. I assumed, you know, we fell into this accidentally, but at the same time, I've got enough of an ego that says, "Oh, this thing, once you just get it going down the hill, it's going to operate by itself. We're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people just clamor for this community." Learned that real quick that that's not the case. So we put in a lot of work, and we actually really now measure our success kind of singles and doubles, if you want to use the baseball terminology.
Sure.
We're not getting grand slams every time. So we kind of pride ourselves now on this fact that we work one-on-one with a lot of individuals and their families. And so we just by an event through our connections at a base, or just we have a ton of partners we have met across North Carolina and really the United States that say, I have connected in some way with someone that is looking to come back to North Carolina or is already in the state, and they have, here's the resume, and they may have some, be it family connection or some other connection to at least an interest on some level of we'll say Hickory metro region, which they typically don't know about. In some cases, again, they have some family connection. But so we work with a lot of those individuals every year. Again, when we have successes, and our successes in a given year are probably a dozen or less. So again, not huge numbers. It's really, we're still being 6 years old. We have evolved this program every single year, really to provide a better ROI in terms of our slim, meager operating budget for our partners and also for the transitioning service members, because we want the best outcome for all parties. And so every year we kind of go back to the drawing board and say, all right, did this event or did this effort produce results with the amount of time and dollars we put into it? And if not, we drop it. We fail fast, we fail cheap. Lindsay Kiesler has always kind of stated we're in essence a startup. We're going to throw spaghetti at the wall. We're going to work hard at that. And if that doesn't work, we're going to move on to what we think is the next best thing. Good example is actually something you've had a part in. When we first started this, we did Welcome Home Hickory Metro weekends. And that was us and employer partners footing the bill and coming up with a great weekend of events sandwiched around a job fair. They were great. I loved them. They had such tremendous energy. Bringing literally whole families here. We'd put them up at hotels. We'd have excursions for them, fun things to do. And then I think you and maybe one other realtor had done a kind of a fam tour,
We
a
did like a tour bus kind of.
Yeah. They were about tired. We'd literally drug them through like 18 different things. It was like, let's go get on a bus. And we did that. And those events were great, but at the same time, they were very expensive. And then we'd also spend about 6 to 7 months planning every single one of those, every single detail. And then we'd get to the end and it'd be like, okay, there's a hurricane this weekend. So that means now those half of those people that were coming from Fort Bragg now have orders to actually stay on base, to stay close in case they're needed for a hurricane. We had that happen twice, actually. So it's not a made up story. So we just found ways we need to scale this better. And so has gone to some virtual events in addition to kind of that handful of opportunities we get to go on base in person, which we do occasionally do those as they allow. And we're really, again, trying to scale it to a point where we can have lots of options, lots of opportunities in front of, that one or two person we interact with, and hopefully a broader audience. But really, we're consistently trying to get our name out there, through mediums like this, through our partners that we developed relationships with. We do presentations pretty consistently, because this is it's not a huge model. As I said, we're a small entity, but still it's fairly unique out there in the environment. There's not a lot of communities that do this, and the ones that tend to do it tend to be literally at the doorstep, within a Fort Bragg, in a Fayetteville, in a Jacksonville area. We're a little bit odd that we're 3 hours away from our most major installation, other than say Fort Jackson in Columbia, South Carolina.
Awesome. So, what's the plan for the current year for the program?
Yeah. So I've covered a little bit of what we're doing now. We kind of have a four-prong approach right now, for this kind of 2021-22 year. It's based on virtual events. So we've done a number of those. Those have been fairly successful. Again, our goal with those is really to reach beyond our talent pools that are right here. And that, if that's our metric and that's our goal, we're completely fulfilling that right now for our local talent partners. One part of it is then looking to how can we better connect. There's a program called the Department of Defense Skill Bridge Program. The basic idea there is in the last 6 months of service, active service, you can be on site in a job setting, a private company setting. In essence, it's a higher level internship. I don't want to dumb it down by any means, but if you had to take away a nugget, think of a very technically smart, capable person coming in that could fulfill that high project management type internship program, and they could do that for up to 6 months. You do not pay them; they're still paid as active duty. Their station of duty just in essence switches to where you're located, and so that's a tremendous program that we're not tapping into. There's so many companies that do a great job locally of having internship, apprenticeship programs. This would be a slight tweak on the audience, and we can figure it out. And we were going down a good road. Obviously, this is the cliche is the pandemic sideswiped some of that, because we had some people that were interested. And I think they've actually changed the rules a little bit to it where it's actually even more advantageous now. And so they're great programs, don't have to pay someone. They're technically capable. They're interested in your opportunity. And then at the end of it, in essence, you have trained that person. You do not have to hire them. All you're required to do is really do a job interview at the end of it. And so there's not a lot of obligation on the part of the company, really. So that's one thing we're still mining. Another part is actually having a great professional networking group here, that is military and military family specific. There's a lot of networking groups in this community, but to my knowledge, there's not one. There's some philanthropic kind of veterans related organizations that do tremendous work here, some locally, regionally, and some nationally based that are sitting here in the community. But there's no one really tying together these folks that are here already that either personally, socially want to reconnect, or I'm more slanted towards the side of being professionally connected. How can you assist someone, a brother or sister in arms, formerly in arms? How can you assist them either get connected better in this community, join the community, or even move themselves up within the community? And so, again, cliche. Go literally we had our very first event for that scheduled. I think the same day that Governor Cooper ordered, in April of 2019,
Yeah.
that they were going to shut down. And so we canceled it and have not come back to it. But I've talked to a number of people recently, veterans that are here, and just say that are either in a job search themselves or just really trying to get plugged in. And they say that would be tremendous. If that existed, that would help me now. But as we're trying to, magnetize this area and bring more people here, it's a safe landing spot. And hopefully it helps those folks transitioning, and it could help the folks that are already here.
Yeah.
So that's our three big prongs. And then I'm the fourth. The fourth being, we do a one-on-one approach. We try to listen. We try to, we've got limited resources. We've got a very fairly specific niche that we're trying to serve. And so we're gonna seek out the folks that can assist if it goes beyond our bounds. But I'm the fourth prong is that one-on-one connection. That's what we're trying to sell. If you want to call it selling, just that personal touch of we're trying to assist you. If that's here, we hope it is, and if not, if we can find you the best place to be elsewhere, that's our mission at the end of the day, is to help someone that has served our country.
That's awesome. Is there anything that you didn't get to talk about that you wanted to cover or kind of bring up that we might not have touched on?
I'm pretty long-winded. I cover a lot.
You kind of, I mean, you did a good job of covering kind of going through stuff, but every once in a while there's something that like, yeah, well, one more thing, or so I've just figured, give the opportunity for that one more thing.
I think the only thing I'd briefly mention, we've done this for 6 years. We've kind of been beating this drum for 6 years. And it's interesting how this talent shortage, and people understand it's not going away. You're seeing far more partners come to the table and look at this. I don't know why they have not previously. It could just be general lack of knowledge, time. It is a niche. We're in essence augmenting an additional team members to a lot of these companies. We're just looking at this specific market. And so we've got more partners coming on, but yet there's not enough, meaning there should be, in my mind, if I were a business owner and I had more than just myself sitting at the table, I would try to understand how I could more effectively connect with either our organization, or there's many others, or just reach out to the military installations themselves, which is not always easy. So my kind of parting message from that would be, we've got a lot of partners, but I think everyone should be at the table for this, given the need for talent, the quantity and the quality. This is a market that if you don't explore it through us, I would highly recommend you explore it through some entity or through your own efforts.
So if there's local companies that want to get involved, how do they find you? Or if someone in general public, watches or listens to the show, they want to get in touch with you and find more information out, how do they find you?
Yeah, best spot really is our website or our social media. Website's going to be www.hky4vets.com. So hky4vets.com. And really our social media channels as well. We're on all the main except TikTok. I'm not going to start dancing yet.
I have an account, but I haven't really done anything with it yet. So yeah.
You're one of those ghost TikTok users. We're not there yet. At some point, generationally, we may have to. But we try to keep good information out there. But hky4vets.com has all our contact information, and folks are always welcome to email me, which is has my own account there. Is Nathan, my name, Nathan at hky4vets.com. And we get a lot of just I don't want to call them random, but again, through connections we have built either locally or across the state, where people hear about us and say, I need some level of assistance. And sometimes we are not the right partner for it. I will tell you out of the gate. And we get a lot of those too, where it's, whoa, okay, we can't bite off that much. We're not that knowledgeable about it. So we defer to really great folks that are here in the community to help in those cases. But we do not, I will answer every call. I will answer every email if anyone needs assistance, and we'll help you where we can.
Awesome. Do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
You asked me that earlier, and I kind of thought of one. How have you had an experience, within your you're coming across a lot of people, Mike, in your world. These are my wife's, by the way, so that's why they keep falling out. My big ears aren't used to them yet. I'd say, do you come across many, say prior military in your dealings, and do you notice anything particular about their needs, or you wouldn't know, or do you even know? I mean, is that something that even comes up in conversation, or have you noticed anything about that particular audience that may benefit us to understand when they're relocating or considering a new home or new something here, that we should be aware of?
Not really. I mean, I would say probably maybe 10% of the loans that are done are VA loans,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
are, typically for, military families and stuff. And so we do have a, pretty large contingent of people that utilize that lending option because it gives them the ability to, get into a house with a minimal down payment and some low fees and everything. So, I mean, it's really, really good for the person that's getting that type of loan. So we do have a lot, and a lot of people that we work with a lot of the time are either people from out of the area that have moved here for business or something. But we also have a lot of people that are from here that went away and came back, were in the military and then they came back home. And so we have I would say, it's probably of the people that are there, it's probably 50-50 of people from the outside, and then 50% of the people that are originally from here that kind of came back home. And so, I mean, and everybody's situation is just completely different. I mean, it's just hard. There's not a lot of, sameness or whatever. Just everybody's got a different situation and different thing they're looking for. But, it's definitely, it's a good part. It's a good sized portion of, I think, the business that we do in our market. So I mean, I think, there's definitely room for, and I think something like that you brought up, like the maybe doing some sort of networking group. I know, like through the Chamber of Commerce, like we have like leads groups that meet like once a week. But maybe something like that, for veterans. I mean, I think that would be a really cool idea to try and pull people together and kind of utilize everybody's, different life experiences that then are kind of still centered on, one life experience that they all have in common. So, I mean, that may still be a really good way to, kind of a good way to network and draw more people here. Because we definitely, I mean, every company I talk to, they definitely need, everybody needs help, and no one's better trained. No one's better trained than our military.
We've done a good bit of education of the employers itself. You talked about the group, so we first were going, well, every company needs to have an employee resource group or a veterans resource group, and they still should. And that's really just an internal, could be just social, if nothing else, team of identified veterans in that company, really just sharing. And they can do service projects. A couple of companies have them, but as we started to think, well, we can do that and we will still push that up the hill, there needs to just be a broader group within the region that even you just go outside your four walls, even if you've got the world's greatest veterans resource group at CommScope as an example, it still benefits you to get out of your environment and to meet other folks in just the community, just to get plugged in more into the community. In that case. So
no, I think it's definitely a win. And so if that definitely would be helpful. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on today.
I think
everybody kind of learned a lot, and we'll definitely push this out there. And like I said, just appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And hopefully, in some small way, hopefully this helps. If it brings one family here, or makes someone aware of this that wasn't, then awesome.
That's to us is success, 100%. If that impacts that one person, one family, then we're golden. That's we've lived up to our expectations and then some.
So, well, awesome. Well, thanks again, and always a pleasure. And I'll see you around.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for the offer, man.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.